Historic St. Mary's City, a beautiful place to visit, an incredible place with history and incredible artifacts. We're going to be meeting some of the wonderful people from Historic St. Mary's City today, including Ruth Mitchell. Ruth, you're the senior staff archaeologist. I think it's fair to say you've seen a lot.
I have. Welcome to the St. John site. This was a building that was built in 1638 by John Luger, who had been appointed Secretary of the province. He lived here for about 10 years. And the house stood for a total of about 75 years before it ended up collapsing in and on itself. It was fully excavated in the early 1970s, and we finally got the funding to put an exhibit together. So we have this wonderful self-guided tour, museum exhibit for people to come see. It's open to the public without any charge. And what they'll see here are the original remains of the 50 by 20 foot house that John Luger built. It was a frame dwelling that was underpinned by stones on the sill.
Wow. And I think this is an incredible exhibit because you can come in and you can look down to the ground, you can see the foundation, some of the walls and what have you, and really walk along the displays and learn bits and pieces about the different things that you're looking at, from the cellar, the floors, and some of the things that archaeologists and scientists have learned. There's clues in the pollen that was trapped into the walls and what have you.
Exactly, and the way we designed the exhibit, we wanted the visitors to feel that they were in the house as much as possible, but without actually destroying the house by putting an exhibit on top of it. So you see the original stone-lined cellar that was here. Everything here is original and not reconstructed, with the exception of a reconstructed gable wall to give people a sense of the floors.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, if people come and visit this and take a look around, what are some of the comments that you've heard from people and they say, I had no idea, or wow, I didn't expect that?
A lot of people that come through this exhibit say it's one of the most fantastic archaeological exhibits they've ever visited. And a lot of those are from all over the world. A lot of visitors have come from international ports of call. So they're very impressed with the degree of preservation that's here on the site and the way that the exhibit has been put together so that you can see the artifacts that were found actually here at this site.
Now, from a scientific and archaeological point of view, what do you find to be the most amazing thing about this site? That's like asking a parent which one of your children is your favorite.
I think that the degree of preservation is probably one of the most fantastic aspects of the exhibit, is seeing how this house stood despite plowing, centuries of plowing, despite surrounding development, despite a 19th century road nearby. The degree of preservation is one thing that I really appreciate about the site.
It must be exciting to be involved in excavating the site and really seeing things that are just, 100% intact.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Ruth, thank you so much for giving us a tour of your baby, as it were.
It was nice to meet you. Thank you.
Now we're speaking with Silas Hurry, who is the curator at St. John's Site Museum. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This is a really amazing place to be. What a wonderful job you have.
It's been a pleasure working here for quite a number of years.
I guess so. When Ruth was talking, she was talking about this site having been excavated fully in the 70s, and you were actually here in part of that.
Yes, I started here in 1972, actually the days the excavation began here.
That's really neat. So you've gotten to see it from point A to where this beautiful museum inside is.
Yes,
now.
And it's been a long time getting here.
And one of the things that Ruth mentioned, that there were so many pieces of artifacts, and the building itself is so intact. You've actually been able to excavate a number of wonderful things, and you've brought a couple of artifacts to share with us.
Yes, well, I brought a couple things. This is an artifact that I like to call is a what is it?
Okay.
It's made out of copper alloy, and it has multiple holes piercing in it, but it was out of the ground for about 25 years before we identified what its function was.
So it was excavated and then somebody held on to for 25 years before someone was able to determine what it actually was?
Right. Well, that's one thing you do in archaeology is you keep everything. Because anything you throw out, you're going to read a book about the next week about how important it is.
Right.
So what do you think it is?
I would say maybe a piece to a door frame.
That's
like
not a bad
hinge
guess.
or a decorative piece on a door frame.
Well, actually, what this is, if I can get my boxes apart here,
okay,
is the metal portion of a purse.
How beautiful. Oh, you can completely see where it went around.
And what it talks also to the issue that many times in archaeology, you only find the parts of the object that's durable.
Sure.
So the rest of this would have been leather or textile or something of that sort, but it's only the copper that's going to make it in the ground.
How did somebody finally determine what that was?
Well, I happened to hire somebody who collected purses.
Gotcha.
And when she said, "Oh, nice purse frame," I immediately said, "Oh yeah, that's a good example."
Now, what is this other one?
This is a very special artifact found also at the St. John's site, and let me grab it out of here if I can. This is a small crucifix, a small silver crucifix that was found in the excavations here.
What do we know about this?
Well, we know that it's 17th century, that it probably belonged to either the Luger or Calvert households,
Okay.
both of which were strong Roman Catholics. The other thing, though, is it's very emblematic of the entire issue of religious toleration in early Maryland. One of the reasons Maryland existed was to allow Catholics and other faiths to practice. And many important things occurred here. The assembly met here regularly during the 17th century. And it's the toleration of all the religious faiths that gave Maryland great success until the end of the century when the Protestant Revolution occurred.
Now, when you see a piece like that that is preserved so well, what do you think from a standpoint, what does that tell you about the people that lived here?
Well, it tells me that they were very deeply religious. The other thing is you don't find these on Protestant sites. In all the excavations in Virginia, with very few exceptions, there are no Roman Catholic artifacts. And we find them, not a great number of them, but relatively frequently on our sites.
How old do you think this piece is?
My guess on this one would probably be, I would put it mid-17th century or before.
That's an incredible piece of history.
Yeah.
Here at the St. John's site and museum, you have a lot of different artifacts and things on display. How many different exhibits, if you would you say you have here?
I would tend to say hundreds, to put it. The number of objects on display, though, is just a very small fraction of what we recovered. The excavations here in both of in the 70s and then the later work in the 90s recovered probably in excess of 1 million artifacts.
Goodness.
And you know, some of them are pretty not exciting, iron nails and things like that, but they all together tell the story of people here in early Maryland.
And what a wonderful place it is to be, and what a wonderful picture of history, our past, and perhaps a glimpse at where we may be able to go in the future.
Right, and this museum gives us a chance to tell pretty much the entire story of St. Mary's City because it stood the entire time the capital was here.
Wonderful. Well, Silas, thank you for joining us. You obviously love what you do, and it's wonderful that you have been here for so many years, because if you come and visit the St. John's site and museum, people can call upon your knowledge and ask you, what does this mean? What is this about?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not in the building all the time.
Okay, well, good luck.
Most of the time, I'm actually with the rest of the collection because, while there's 1 million artifacts from here, there's probably another 5 million that we're still studying.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And the truth is that we go back and look at things that have been out of the ground for 25 years to ask new questions all the time.
Yeah, it helps you to put it more in context the more you discover. All right. Well, Silas Hurry, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
St. John's site and museum, it's an incredible place to visit in historic St. Mary's City.